Good day, everyone. In our last class, we created a table. So we're going to go ahead today and create a form. So while we're creating a form, we're going to be going through the same process and then click on form right after selecting the user interface. Like I said, I'm going to be starting my naming convention with AUG, as well as I'll give it the same table, the same name as I gave the table. Okay, so then I'll click on add. Now for the purpose of this training, I'm going to be using a very simple form. And then once we want to create a form, we can see the preview of what the form looks like on here. So the first thing I'll do is to specify a pattern for this form. Like I mentioned earlier, this is just an introductory class, and then we're just rushing through everything just to introduce ourselves on how this is done. So I'm going to be using a pattern, a simple list pattern. It's a very simple pattern. I'm going to be using that for this class. Now once you do that, you realize that you have things that you need to add in order to make sure that this pattern has no error, build successfully, and then you're able to view what you've done at the front end. So I need, which means I need to add an action pane, I need to add a group, as well as add a grid. You can see from here that this is one to many, like you have to add at least one of these. And then for this footer, you can see 0 to 1. That means it's not compulsory, but for here you have to add at least one. So I'm going to go ahead and add, right click and new, and then add an action pin like I mentioned earlier. I'll go back to that same part and add the next one, which is a group, new group, go back again to the first one and add the last one, which is a grid. So we've satisfied the three options. Then we need to go into each of them and see if we have any red or any warning sign here. We don't have anything here. We'll go on to the next one. We don't have anything here. I'll go back here. We don't have any issue here. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a pattern. We can see that it's asking us for a pattern. So I'm going to right click on here and give this a pattern. You can see we just have one pattern that can be applied to this. From here, let me go back to here to show you what is missing. You can see that we already have a yellow, means a warning, means telling us that there is an issue with this part. We can easily click on here to go here, or we just come here and click on it. Once we're there, we can see from what it's saying that we need to add a quick filter. Is compulsory while the rest are not. So we're just go ahead and add this quick filter in order to fill that up. Okay, this is the quick filter button. So once that is done, we can go ahead and add the other things. You can see we don't have that warning part again, so everything is fine, just for us to add other things. Now we're going to change this name to, you can change the name to meet up to your naming convention as in for your company, or whatever, but for now I'm going to leave it for training purposes. I'm going to leave it the way it is. Now we've satisfied the pattern for this, we're going to add a data source. So to add a data source, I have to right click and click on new data source. We'll go to the properties. Like I explained before, every item here on has a properties. So I'm going to go to the property called table, and I'm going to search for the table I created previously, AUG. Okay, I've seen it here, and then I click on it. So once that is done, you can see that it has already changed this. There's something that we didn't add when we were creating our table, so we'll just go back there and do it together. So when we were creating our table, we did not add this field to a field group. Sorry. So we did not add this field to a field group. To do that, we'll right click on this field group and add a new field group. I'll just give this the name overview. Okay, once that is done, I can either copy all of these or drag and drop. Okay, so once that is done, I'll save this bit and come back to this form, and then on this grid we'll go to the properties like I mentioned earlier. We select a data source. It will pick only the data source on the form, and then the data group, which is that group we just created right now, the overview. Yes, so we've done this. We've completed the step of creating a form, but for now we're just going to give this our form a label. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll have to give it a label in order for us to see it there. So I'm just going to give this a label. First table, can use this as well. Okay, yeah, and this is called caption. So once that is done, I can save, and then we'll end this class. So in our next class we're going to be creating a menu for this form we've created. Join us. Thank you.